Good morning. Good morning.
We just start with the bad news first. What's the latest on Danny? How long do you think you might be without him for? And also, how frustrating is it from his point of view? Because I think that's a fourth injury, isn't it, this season for him?
Yeah, I think it is serious one, but not too serious. I think 3 weeks will be. I expect him being back after the international break.
Yeah, and also, how's he sort of feeling about that? As I said, it seems this season there's been lots of little setbacks.
Yes, a little bit too much, to be honest, but what can we do? We must, in the next season, have a better preseason, hopefully, to avoid this situation we had been in this season, and make a few other changes, I think, because it is more than we can take, I think. But yes, as it is, we have to take it and do the best.
On to the more positive news. How are you feeling after Saturday? It must feel like a sort of pressure valve has been released. I think a lot of fans were sort of breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, there's no reason to take a breather now, because we're still mid in the season, and everything is still tight, and we have had an important game on the weekend with important 3 points for us. This is definitely, but it goes on quickly. Yeah, we have now Man City on Wednesday, and then a Sunday Brighton. I mean, you see the table, how tight it is. Fulham had one also, so a few teams are still, it's still tight, and I think it can be that 40 points you need this season, because there is no team really dropping off from the back three. Fulham is a strong side, and so it can be that you need another a few more points this season.
And just my final question, I assume you watched the Manchester derby yesterday. Obviously, Manchester City's incredible run of victories has now come to an end. Did you watch that thinking, oh good, Manchester City are beatable, or did you watch it thinking, oh no, there's going to be a big reaction on Wednesday night because they're a wounded beast now?
Nor watching them and thinking, could they lose? Neither. Now they are beatable. I try to take every game as an opportunity, and I also like it when you play against teams they have been unbeaten since a long time, because it gives you the opportunity to be the first one who beat them, and that we can beat them. We have shown in the past. Last 2 games against them, I think we did a very good job. We had a lot of possession. We really stressed them with the ball and also without the ball, and I think we have shown in the last 2 games against them that we are a better side now, and still just tough to get something there, but we go there for being the strongest possible opponent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris Temple, PLP.
Hi, Ralph. Good morning. I'm sure you're aware that you were the first team that Manchester City beat in that 21-game winning run. Can you just assess the achievement of winning 21 games in all competitions, given the problems that teams have had this season with fitness? I know City have a good squad, but how big an achievement is that to win 21 games in a row?
Yeah, I mean, this is an unbelievable run, to be honest. I think Pep is known for, when he is in the flow with his team, that he's very, very successful. And yes, it's amazing. And I think when we speak about a crisis from such a team, that we speak about 2-3 draws they have one time. So this is then the crisis for them. So you can see how high the level is. But still, there you have to fight for every win. You have to. There's no easy game out there. Also not for Man City. Also, if they between 20 games, nobody goes there and says, "Oh, we have lost immediately." So everybody tries to fight you. Everybody tries to get something, and you cannot praise him too much for having such a success with his team after a not so good start this season. But yes, I mean, it's not everything about the money. It's also about his fantastic job he does there.
You mentioned the Danny Ings update. Nathan Tella impressed on Saturday, just his second Premier League start. Obviously, there'll be a vacancy in the team for the next few games with Danny out. What does Nathan need to do to convince you that he's worth a run in the team now?
Playing like he has played on the weekend, I think. That's just what he has to do. Exactly what we demanded from him. Well, the stats were massive. I think it was in 70 minutes he was running more high speed than others in 90 minutes. So it was definitely, yeah, this is what I expected from him. What he definitely gives us and gives our game. And we must have a look how fit he is for Wednesday, because he invested a lot, and as a young player we have to pay attention. And yeah, we must have a look general what players are available for Wednesday. We have 2 sessions today and tomorrow. Have a look how fit the guys are. We have a few players coming back from injuries. That means we have to be more careful with them, and then in the end find the best and the less risk possible team.
And to what extent on Saturday did we see the value of Kyle Walker-Peters coming back and Diallo as an option for you, with Romeo out in the 6th position as well?
Yeah, the 2 players are very important for our shape. This is definitely a fact. And yeah, we are a different side then. Yes, this is clear. Everybody plays in his best position, and this helps you massively. Although we must also come to a situation when we have to, substitute them, that we have alternatives. When we have a rotation in the team, then we must also come in that level that a player doesn't play on his best position but still lifts us, that we win games. So on the Wednesday it would be very difficult to win, because we know about the quality of the side we are facing. But in the end, I think it's about us showing again the same behaviors what we showed on Saturday, and then everything is possible.
Thanks, Ralph. Good luck on Wednesday.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Adam Blackmore.
Ralph, good morning.
Morning.
How much, you talked about risk and reward there, how much can you risk with players that have just come back from injury? Because your matches after this game are Brighton, Bournemouth, Burnley, West Brom and Palace. You could say, well, we just need to get through Wednesday and make sure players are fit for the 5 games afterwards, which are huge matches for us. I mean, can you take that attitude, or do you have to put your strongest team out and compete with Man City all the time?
I think it's normal that in such moments, every team likes to rotate. We have seen that rotation for us is a little bit more difficult. On some positions it's possible, on others maybe not so good. But even then you have to think about it. And yeah, that's the reason why we have to select very carefully what we do on Wednesday. We will still sure have a few changes, I think, but we have to be careful that we still have a strong side there.
What's the minimum requirement to make sure that after Wednesday's game, the players haven't lost the confidence they built up from winning at Sheffield United? Because nobody expects you to win there, but you'll expect a certain level of performance. It would be a shame to go backwards again.
No, I don't want to go backwards. I want to do against them what we did in the last 2 games, I think. And this was a very good performance, to be honest. We have looked in the last 2 games we played against them, and this was by far one of the best performances we had in the past. And this is what I expect. Maybe not immediately winning 100%, but this is, nobody can expect it, but it's always a chance to do it. And when you start good in the game and you have the game plan working well, then everything is possible. And I think this is what we have to concentrate in, and then go with a lot of belief.
Just finally from me, just reflecting on the squad, that you want to rotate a bit, but it's difficult in certain positions. Do you, or have you always regretted not being able to bring fullbacks in January? I know you were happy to let Valery and Vokins go, but it's created a stress for you with Walker-Peters being injured more than once. Do you look back and think, I really wish we got a fullback cover in, a sort of Brandon Williams type player, someone who could play both sides?
Yeah, this is no surprise that we tried it. I mean, sure, we tried everything, but it was not possible in the winter because of the special situation every club was in with the COVID and everything. Nobody wanted to loan players because nobody knew how we were at that moment in a situation where the numbers were rising and we had big problems with COVID cases in the league. So nobody, we tried everything, but it didn't work. So finally, we know that we have to do something there in the summer, and therefore we have to concentrate now.
Thanks, Ralph. Good luck Wednesday.
Thank you.
James at TalkSport.
Morning, Ralph. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Ralph, the last 3 matches against Man City, there's only been 1 goal in them. You've won one of those games and suffered defeats on the other 2. But do those past performances give you confidence heading into this game?
Definitely, yes, because I think we had in the last game nearly 50% possession against them. And this is always the key of being competitive. It's important that you get rid of the pressure they put on you sometimes, like a boxer hanging in the ropes and concede one hit after the other. So you have to come out there and also let them run sometimes. I think this is important. We showed in the last game also that we have good solutions in coming in behind the last line. I think this is also an opportunity for them against them to stretch them, to create chances. We had chances the last 2 games against them with quick playing deep and with good decision making with the ball. You need to have a perfect game like always, but there's no reason why we shouldn't believe in what we are doing.
It was a big moment for Che Adams on Saturday, especially considering Danny's injury as well. But that was his first goal in the league since December. What has he got to do to add consistency to his game when it comes to goal scoring?
Work on his finish, work on his final decision, and make all the chances he has. And he has a lot in the past. He had always, in every game, he gets the opportunity to score. And he must be in some moments more clinical, but this is easy to say. A striker always likes to be clinical and makes a goal from every chance. But he had a long run where he didn't score, but maybe we have again the ketchup bottle phenomena. So long time nothing, and then everything comes. So I take it, yeah.
And finally, for me, Ralph, 100 matches in charge at Southampton. What do you hope to achieve in the next 100?
I mean, 100 is for me something like a milestone. I always left clubs before I got to the 100. And every time I tried to, or I decided to go to the next step. So it's the first time that I committed to longer, and it doesn't hurt. It feels good. Although we had some tough moments in this club so far, but also very beautiful ones. And I really enjoy working here. I really enjoy working with the team. I think, as I always say, I know what I have got here. I know what problems I have here, what issues I have to handle here. But issues are there to solve them. And finally, so far we did a good job together, I think, and hopefully more to come, more success to come.
Thank you, Ralph. All the best.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll move on to the next section embargoed for 10:30 this evening, and we'll start with Dan at The Athletic.
Thank you, Jordan. Good morning, Ralph.
Good morning.
In the section just there, you mentioned about how you're looking at making changes, and is that with Brighton in mind? And as a manager, how difficult is that? Because you're obviously competitive, but I can't imagine it's easy for you to look at one game and think, well, we've got absolutely no chance of winning there, so I rest a few players back for Brighton. Is that how you're thinking or not?
Yeah, at first you have to look on the freshness of the players. So this is the first part. I think every player wants to play on Wednesday and wants to play on Sunday. Sometimes you have to protect them from themselves. This is also important. But there are some positions where it's tough to rotate because we have no alternatives or not a lot. So if you rotate there, then you have immediately to change players on the position where they don't want to play. And this is the problem we have in this season because we have less opportunities, and that makes it even more difficult. And we saw in the past that it is tough for us to play players on positions where are not used to play. And against a strong side like Man City, you need to have the perfect automatism and everything. So it would be perfect to have a normal week for this game, and after this also a normal week, then we can prepare and go with the strongest side. That would not be possible, I think, on Wednesday, but we will still have a side on the pitch that is able to take something there.
And is there an element, now I don't know who you would consider dropping, but obviously Kyle Walker-Peters has just come back, and we saw what happened when he played against Wolves in the FA Cup, and then again 3 days later when perhaps he wasn't quite ready for 2 games in quick succession. What have you learned from that? Have you learned that actually, well, if we miss Kyle for 1 game, it's better to have him for the final 10?
maybe. if you give me the guarantee that he stays then fit for the rest of the season, I take it like this. If you can guarantee that he can play on Wednesday and still stays fit, I also take him. So, have no guarantees. In my first press conference, I spoke about the guarantees for the washing machine. So I don't know. It's tough to say, but finally, the decision is to take, not now. I learned in my career, take the decision when they have to be taken, and still then we have a few days to look at him and then can still decide what we do.
Thank you, Ralph. Best of luck.
Okay, we'll go to Tom Leach.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. Ibrahim Diallo turns 22 today. So happy birthday to him. He came in for you on Saturday.
Thanks.
And he did well on Saturday, I thought. I think it's easy to forget that he's only made 5 or 6 Premier League starts so far in his Premier League career. Now that you're a few months down the line with him, how is he settling in? What do you like about him so far? And what are the big things that you worked with him on the training pitch at Staplewood?
I think he played some really good games since he's here. I think this was not his best one. He played on the weekend because he could still see that he was a little bit out of the rhythm in some moments. One horrible pass before the halftime, where he normally doesn't do in this moment. Still, we take a lot of risk, and it's not so easy when you come back and immediately have to build up like we do it. And it takes a little bit of time to get the right decisions in the right moments. But especially against the ball, he's dynamic, he's ball winning, but also with the ball, when he carries the ball, the first goal, the penalty, it was a fantastic long ball from him to Nathan Teller. So she showed that he has a good view in front, that he can win balls very good, bring it on the ground. And a very good alternative to Ori, but we still miss Ori, that's for sure.
He's very different to Ori, isn't he? As we've spoken about before, perhaps more offensive, relies more on having the ball. How much does your overall game change when he's there? Because it doesn't seem like it should be as simple as taking out one light bulb and putting another one in.
He has a little bit different behaviors when he has the ball. I think he likes to turn a little bit more aggressive in front and look in front and speed up the game then. With the dribbling, with the tempo dribbling, he has a little bit more speed, I think, than Ori has, but Ori is a little bit calmer and turns and harder to get a ball from him, I think. But also Ibra did a good job with the ball. So no, I'm happy. They both fit perfect to Browsey. Browsey is the captain in the midfield and is in every game covering the longest distance. He's everywhere, and he needs somebody who supports him. And Ibra did a good job so far.
If I could just ask one more quickly, Jordan. He's going to be heavily involved now between now and the end of the season without Romeo being there. Next season, it won't be his bedded in season anymore. So, he's going to want to play every week. How important is this run now for him to convince you that even when Ori comes back, he can keep his place?
Yeah, it's important to have more than 2 midfield players, this is for sure. And I think the problem we have in the moment is that I also thought that I can play with Ibra maybe as a right back sometimes, or I think left back he played against Villa in the end. So, but in the moment, because we only have 2 sixers, I cannot do this. And then when on the 6 and on the fullback positions, our players are out because of injuries. That hurts us the most, I think, because we have the less alternatives. And this is next season. And when you see how long as such a season the Premier League is, then you know that you will always get your chance to play. And for that moment, you must be prepared. And then you have to be the guy who steps in and leaves your own footsteps on the pitch. This is what everybody should do.
Okay, Ralph, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, Dan Rose.
Morning, Ralph. You okay?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You mentioned Nathan Teller there in the broadcast section, and obviously he was highly impressive on Saturday with his statistics and everything like that. He's only 21, but he's been through a lot in his career. He's obviously released from Arsenal and came to Saints. And he's also had a serious knee injury. Just what does that show about his character as a person as well, to get back to that level and get up to the level that he is now?
I mean, I like especially the character of this guy. He has a good balance of not enjoy what he does, but not being too sloppy or too shy. I think this is a good balance of brave, not arrogant, but brave, and still with a good workload, with a good attitude. I mean, the runs he made the last game were massive, and he also showed that he can be a threat for the opponent, and this is what we need in front. And with his work against the ball, in combination with his quality with the ball, he can be in the future a good alternative for us in the attacking stuff. And for me, the moment he's the guy in the youth that is the furthest in his development so far. And he was injured also this year one time with a bad muscle injury that set him back a little bit. But he was coming back and he's stronger than before.
And at the other end of the pitch, you obviously kept Fraser Forster in goal against Sheffield United, and he had another clean sheet. I think that's 5 clean sheets so far in 6 games this season. Just how impressed have you been with him and the attitude he's shown to fight for that place, and at the minute take it back as a Premier League goalkeeper?
Yeah, he also we have 2 good goalkeepers, and we will also in the future have the situation that we rotate or give the other one a chance to play. And he took the chances. He made a good job in the cup. He made a good job against Liverpool at home. He again played a good game. So he showed that we can trust him. And he deserved to play. And that doesn't mean that Alex will not play anymore. He will also get his games in the season again. And it's good to have 2 good goalkeepers. I trust both. Both have made a big development in their game, especially with the ball. We learned them to be calm, to play out from behind. And they both, when you compare Fraser to last season where he was on loan then afterwards, because we said we must play more football. But when he showed it now, how much he can learn, then he's a better package now.
Is that a testament to what your staff have done with him as well? Andrew Sparks, the goalkeeping department there, and what they've done to enhance his game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you demand it, then you must offer it in the sessions, and I think he did it in a fantastic way. He offered them, or we offered them also, because we include them very often in our rondos. They very often play the ball players in our rondos, so that gives them the platform for learning new things, for getting calmer on the ball, for having a better first touch, and that helps him massively to handle the stress you have in a Premier League game. And meanwhile, I think they have more pressure in their sessions than in the game so far, and that helps you massively to find the right decisions.
Thanks, Ralph. All the best for Wednesday.
Thank you.